Welcome back to the channel. Today doing another job on my wife's Polo. This time the stereo's got an issue. When you turn it on, well actually it doesn't even turn on now. So it turns on, no sound, and just turns off again. There we go. And it does that in a perpetual loop. That is one of those where the head unit is in the glove compartment, which is a little annoying. It means that this is a display only. So I have a replacement head unit, which is the part that goes in the glove compartment, and then a replacement display. I'm hoping that it all fits in anyway. Welcome back to the channel. That was naive young me thinking I could resolve a problem simply in a short. The reality has been very much different. So the issue that I had was that the stereo in my Volkswagen Polo kept switching on and off randomly. Now, after doing a lot of research, I came to the conclusion that it was the head unit in the glove compartment that was possibly at issue. Now let me explain. These Polos come with two units. A display unit that sits out front, and then the brains is all behind the glove compartment, called an infotainment center. Having done some research, I decided I was going to buy a new display, a new infotainment center that were already paired together. And I thought that would be the solution to the issue. So the first thing we need to do is remove this fascia. So we need to lever it out, pop it off. We're going to take this out. And to do that, get these little tools off Amazon, like £2, £2 for those who don't know what a quid is. Insert it into the slot, and then we just need to bolt it out. But how wrong I was. I fitted the new infotainment system, switched it on, and then I had this message on the screen. Now, having done some more research, this is a lock put on stereos by Volkswagen. So I did some research on this infotainment center, and I discovered that second-hand or an aftermarket infotainment system, you had to have it unlocked by a authorized Volkswagen dealer. Now these dealers, they have a machine which is called an Otis machine, and they use this machine to unlock the stereo from the VIN, because it's locked to the VIN of your car. They unlock that and then lock it to the VIN of the new car. Now in that process, I give the guy a call that does it locally, and he said you have to be really certain that the second-hand infotainment system that you get is not stolen, because when they register it in Otis, they register the new owner, and it's also sent to DVLA or the police. Not only that, the cost of having it unlocked was £216, pretty much 3 times more than I paid for the infotainment centre on its own. Now this to me was baffling. I can't comprehend being tied into a system where you're always paying people over the odds for something that's very basic. When I was younger, me and my mates, we used to fit our own stereos. And I started to think, could I do that? Well, doing some more research, I discovered that my stereo had a connector, an MQB connector. Now this is a 52-pin connector that is now pretty much standard to all new Volkswagens. And I thought to myself, can I get a stereo that fits an MQB connector? I had a little shopping around on Amazon and I came across this stereo. Now, admittedly in the ad it said it wasn't compatible with a 6C model Polo. And unfortunately mine was a 6C model Polo, but I thought it's got the same connector, let's give it a go. That's what I did. I bought it, brought it home, full of optimism again, fitted it. Let's put the plug in, clamp it in place. So what I want to see is if it works with the parking sensors. So it doesn't work with my parking sensors. That's great. And it didn't work. Couldn't connect to Bluetooth, couldn't connect to any of the usual tools I use with this stereo. Again, I was really frustrated. Now remember, this stereo cost £300, so it wasn't a cheap one. The company, they say that they do one specifically for the 6C, yet I would have to have it imported from China and I'd have to wait 3 weeks for it to arrive. So I decided I would have a look through Amazon again and see if I could find another stereo that would fit. And I came across this one. Now this one came with not an MQB connector, but they call it a 52-pin connector. I bought this stereo and I fitted it one night. Unfortunately, again, it didn't work. But as I was looking through the box, I discovered that there was another 52 pin or an MQB connector provided. It didn't have as many pins, but I thought I'd give it a go before I gave up, and it worked. Now, the loom and the connector doesn't fit right the way to the stereo, so you have to buy an adapter, and this is the one I bought. You've got 1, 2, 3 screws here, one at the back behind the stereo compartment, another one here, the top right hand corner of the glove compartment, and then underneath you've got one there, and you've got one there. This one here, you've got to be careful because it could drop behind the trim and then you're going to lose it, so just be careful with that one. And then the final one, so I got myself an umbrella. This is the panel that needs to come off, so just pull it out. This should just pop out, and then it's this little clip here. Can take this out as well, but then it's getting lost. That's the glove compartment out of the way. There's a pipe here. Here's the connector. I'm going to see if I can thread it through there. It's going to be tricky, of course. Why would it not be tricky? I managed to thread the cable through here. There's a little niche there that it can fit into, and then through the back here, but it is a pest. I undid the screws in the back to give me some more leeway. There's little screws, but that didn't really make a difference. But anyway, I got it through. That's the extension. That's the aerial. It was a bit of a pain, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of metal, a lot of plastic, and they don't design it for you to do this type of work. But in the end, I managed to get it around. There's a little niche in the strut for the cable to go. Got it around, got the adapter in, so it's a full length, and I was able to connect this new stereo. Now this new stereo, it works great. It needs a bit of setting up. At first I didn't get my reverse sensor image, but I managed to work that out in the settings, so we've got that now. Also the clock of the car, the main clock, used to keep defaulting back to a different setting. Now that always confused me because the stereo had the right time on it, but the car didn't. So what I'm putting that down to is the fact that my phone with CarPlay was providing the stereo with the right time, but for the car the stereo was providing a different time. In fact, if you go into the settings, you'll find that the time is set to China, obviously where they all come from. Now if you change that setting to the UK, your car clock will be fine. If you're struggling with the issue like I was, I did a lot of research, and people don't do these stereos to their cars. Most, the infotainment unit, it won't go faulty, so they never think to do it. For others, it just seems like too much of a challenge. I've seen videos on YouTube where people have fitted them, but they never tell you how to fit them. So hopefully through this video, you will get to see how easy it is to put an aftermarket stereo into your Volkswagen Polo 60. Now why is this an advantage? Well, you're not tied to Volkswagen anymore. If your stereo goes wrong and you have to take it to Volkswagen, I've seen quotes of people getting £3,200, £4,000 just to change the infotainment centre. Yet now I have a stereo for £119 that does pretty much everything I need it to do. So hopefully you'll be able to do this for your own car. If you're searching like I was for this type of video, hopefully this provides you with a solution. Good afternoon. So I'm back in the Polo again today. The stereo's working really well. Still having some issues with steering wheel controls, but don't really hamper it that much. Siri kind of takes care of those issues. But what I'm going to do today is address the trim surrounding the stereo. If you remember, the 6C trim used to allow for the button, the knobs being down here, so it won't work with this stereo. However, the 6R trim will work. It does clips in all the way around, apart from at the top. So I'm not sure if you can see here, there's like a silver lip that goes around, and also it just juts up a little bit too much. Plan is to remove the silver trim. You see here, just remove these plastic nubbins, and this silver trim will come off. Trim the ends off here. I've got a Dremel that can do that. Hopefully then it will fit. So first thing I want to do, find out where this ends here, to mark it with this permanent marker, which I now have on my fingers. So it looks like it's just below the top of the silver trim. It needs to go. Actually, there's kind of a little line there already. So I'm wondering if I just trim the top, sort of like 4 or 5 mil, that'll deal with that. Clips are already set up and they do push in. So we've got the clips that's still here. They do push in there. I've dremeled off the top there. Doesn't quite meet, but I figured if I tried to make it meet, it probably wouldn't look great. I took all the silver trim off here, but yeah, it needed a bit of a jiggle in. But there it is, it's done.